Lion Connie Neese, and I want you to know that I joined Lions with the Jackson Eye Openers Club in August of 2004. So I have been a Lion for 17 years. Many years ago, I was diagnosed with an eye disease called Fuchs dystrophy and was told that one day I might have to have a corneal transplant. Well, you know, at that time, I didn't think anything of it because I was seeing well. I really didn't have any problems. So you ask, what is Fuchs dystrophy? Well, Fuchs dystrophy, there are cells in the cornea that pump the fluids and water out of your eye. And when those cells die or just don't work anymore, the fluid builds up and it thickens your cornea and your cornea swells. And what that does, it causes a glare or blurred or a very cloudy vision. And I found out that during this whole time when I was seeing the ophthalmologist that it's usually genetic and it's usually inherited from your mother's side. And it's more common with women as well. What's interesting is that both my sister and her daughter, my niece, also have this disease of Fuchs dystrophy. So when I saw my ophthalmologist in June, I expected the appointment maybe just to be another baseline of my cornea. Well, the doctor showed me what a good cornea looked like, and there's all these great cells. Then he showed me a picture of my cornea, which is like a blank slate practically. There were just maybe a few cells around the top perimeter of my cornea. So no baseline for me. I was ready right then to have the surgery. Just so you know, I had stopped driving myself probably 2 or more years ago because I couldn't see in the dark. I couldn't see very well in the dark in it. And I also needed really good lighting to read. And just so you know, I'm a widow, I live alone, but I'm very, very active with Lions in my church and in the community. So it really became a bummer when I just needed, have somebody pick me up and take me places at night, but it just really wasn't safe for me to drive and be on the road. So on the one hand, I was really glad for the surgery, but on the other hand, I was nervous, as most people would be. But when the doc gave me the news about needing the surgery, and the sooner the better, the first question I asked him was, where do you get the donor tissue from? And I can guarantee I've been the only patient that has ever asked him that question. So when he told me Eversight, I was extremely happy. And I told him, well, that's good because that's the only place I want to get my tissue from. Because I have a friend and member of my Lions Club who's a PID and is on Eversight board. And she had told me that it's the only eye bank that tests for COVID. And my doctor did not know that. So it gave me an opportunity to tell the doctor about Lions and this in support of Eversight that we have for that project. And I know that my club, the Jackson Eye Openers, have been a supporter of Eversight since I've been a Lion. And at that point in time, it was Michigan Eye Bank. And I'm sure years before that, that I joined, that I'm sure that they supported Eversight. And interestingly, also, there are 2 club members, again, both women, who also are diagnosed with this disease. So they've told me I'm their poster child. You know, they're going to get an opportunity to see how I fare with the surgery if they're ever in need of this kind of a surgery. So I wanted to have the surgery scheduled as soon as possible because I thought, well, you know, as you can tell, the days are already shortening, and once winter comes, it's even going to be shorter. So, and I was hopes that I would be able to drive again at night after the surgery. So I called Alex Teska and asked her at Eversight and asked her if she could hook me up with some people that had the surgery that I could talk to prior to having mine, just so I would get a feel for what to expect. And oh my gosh, once I talked with her, I think she had names with me that afternoon. And so I basically talked to 3 people, again, all women, who had the surgery. The first couple actually had stitches in their eye to adhere the tissue. And of course, I didn't have that. And this is how the improvements have been made in this area, because it's just a partial transplant. And they didn't have a whole lot of restrictions. The other person that I talked with did have pretty good restrictions after a week, but she had a similar surgery to mine. When I had the surgery on July 21st, much less nervous than what I was originally after talking to those that had had it previously. And I came out with flying colors. In fact, I was probably more nervous about what restrictions I would have after than I was of the actual surgery. So the next day, 24 hours later, I had an appointment with the doctor. He took off my eye patch, and the first 24 hours was the roughest because of restrictions on how I had to sleep and how I could move, etc. But he took off my eye patch, and the word he said was fabulous. I mean, I looked at him and I said, I love that word, fabulous. And I basically had very minimal restrictions that first week following. And I then needed to see the doc again after a week. And they followed me at the week after, the month after, and then I'll have a 3-month appointment. And as I continue with seeing the doctor, my appointments will lengthen, and we'll get further and further apart. So the good news is I was driving after a week, and I'm so happy also because I've driven at night. And I actually drove one night and it was misty rain, in which I would never have driven in. That would have been even worse if I drive in rain or snow or anything like that. And I'm just ecstatic that I have nobody that I have to depend on to drive me anywhere now. And so I'm basically, 8-9 weeks post-surgery. And I am so happy that I had the surgery done. And I'm very, very thankful for the relationship that Lions have with Eversight. And having learned about them and learning about this eye disease, I wondered one day if I'd ever need their services. Well, I did. And what was also nice about Eversight, Alex kept in touch with me, followed up with me after the surgery to see how I was doing. And they were just very supportive throughout, and I'm very thankful for that. And I guess my last words I want to say is, if you have any clubs in your districts that don't support Eversight, please encourage them to do so. And Lions should be very, very proud to have Eversight as one of their Lions projects that we support. So if you have anybody that in your family or friends to know that has this disease and might need to have this one day, I'd be happy to talk to them, but encourage them to have it. My life has been changed around, just changed from the last couple of years. So thank you for hearing my story today.